Good morning, everybody. I'm Zachary Herman. Super excited to be with you via video this morning. I actually had a pretty early morning today. Believe it or not, I was a little bit behind for my homework on one of my classes here at the business school, Building and Sustaining Successful Enterprises. I had to get up very early today, started hitting my reading. It was a dark, cold, concrete block that I call my graduate school dorm room. As I'm reading away, I start getting these tweet notifications on my phone. They were about the Complex Instruction Consortium meeting happening tomorrow, which is today. And I got super excited. I'm like, oh yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. It's the CIC Workshop. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, I was supposed to make a video for that. So I was thinking, well, I've got to do this reading. I've got to think about what I want to say. Hopefully this reading will apply somehow to some sort of message I could deliver. Well, it turns out that this reading is about Hewlett-Packard and developing disk drives. So I thought, ooh, it might be a stretch to relate that idea. But it turns out that that was just the content. The themes were all about leadership identification and development. One traditional school of thought, maybe you're familiar with it, of leadership development, is this idea of the right stuff. Leaders have certain abilities and competencies, and identifying and developing leaders is really just a matter of figuring out more accurately and precisely and effectively who has those competencies and where to put them in an organization. Another way to look at it is that these competencies and abilities came from somewhere. They can be developed, and it's a matter of how do we develop these within individuals. This idea of innate versus kind of developed skills and abilities is certainly not a new idea to us educators, so it was exciting to see it in a different context. The way they thought about developing these abilities and these competencies was pretty interesting, though. The idea is you got to put an individual in an environment where they're posed with a new task, a new challenge. And through their experience in that environment, they develop some instincts about what to do in which situation. These instincts are often subconscious, but eventually form to clearly articulated theories. These theories are causal relationships. Things like, if I decide to make this action at this particular circumstances, I can expect this outcome. These theories are tested and further developed. And through this schooling experience, or the experience of school, they actually develop leadership abilities and competencies. Now, in order for this process to work, some characteristics need to be true. For instance, the individual that's being developed needs to be willing to take risks and try new things. Individuals also need to be able to learn from their experience. As Dewey mentioned, we don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on that experience. So a reflective mindset, a developmental mindset is key. So I was thinking, well, this is exciting because this actually articulates some of the key components of complex instruction. What do? We take students, we put them in new situations where tasks and problems that they have not seen before, and we ask them to figure it out. They develop these instincts for how to approach the problem and eventually some theories about the way the world works in math. Not only about the content, but about how to work well with other individuals, navigate through differences, communicate effectively with their team, and so on. But I also thought it's not only a good articulation of the work of complex instruction, but of the Complex Instruction Consortium. Because what do we do with teachers? We're actually taking teachers, putting them in situations and opportunities where they get to talk about different problems of practice, discover new methodologies, develop instincts for their teaching, and eventually develop clearly articulated theories that help inform their practice. What's exciting about this way of thinking about the work of the Complex Instruction Consortium is that we're not just about developing teachers, we're actually about developing leaders, people that have a better sense of how to interact with their practice and develop themselves and develop others. So as you approach today with excitement and enthusiasm, I want you to approach it with a sense of risk-taking, or a willingness to take risks, as well as the need to reflect on your experience, because those are those key elements of developing that leadership and developing yourself as a teacher. Enjoy the day and have fun.